Akira.
Have you any hobbies?
My hobbies are fast cars and fast women.
Hobbies are healthy. They teach you things.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Oh, welcome everybody into another edition of Around the UFL. I'm going to be honest with you guys, going to kind of cut to the chase today on a few things because, my God, we have a lot to discuss in a very shortish amount of time, and also the fact that time is kind of running short before the season kicks off here on Friday, March 28th down in Houston, Texas. Taking on the St. Louis Battlehawks, taking on the Roughnecks for that. But yeah, we got a lot to discuss. Lots of things, especially prevalent today, that dropped that we're just going to cut into it here once I introduce everybody in. So let's wrap around the horn on my screen. Going clockwise, kicking things off, James Larson. I'm going to circle to you, of course, once we kick things off into discussions about one of the two coaches that we have to talk today. But otherwise, how are you holding up here? You got a flat tire? You're lucky to even be here, right?
Guys, I literally just pulled in like 4 minutes ago, ran to the bathroom, set up my laptop and mic, and got on. So I don't know how I managed to make it before the show actually started, but we're here, and I'm ready to go.
All right. Well, good. I'm glad you made it, man. We were wondering, but cutting against the grain, good job. You made it. And bonus points for surviving a flat tire on the side of the road up there as well. Jake, good to see you, bud. Yeah, I know news today ain't really affecting our teams as much, but it does affect our first opponent when we get around to talking about it.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing what that does. I'm still hoping that Nolan doesn't look forward to Birmingham in week 2 because I'm still scared of Horton's defense come Sunday. So
yes, I still am going to hold that. Good Lord, man still has that thing above us, 0-3 against anything Jaron Horton led as well. Speaking of which, with Jaron Horton, Ducky, the ultimate Jaron Horton stan, you have been banging the drum today. We'll circle back to that, but otherwise, how you doing?
Good. Just got back from flattening some guy's tires. He was parked in front of me.
I heard the police report said that you had done it to a man by the name of Lames Jarson. Is that right?
Yep.
Yep.
The police were not involved. I didn't want them to know what I had in the trunk.
No, I called him and said I did it.
Poor Lames. I hope he's okay, but he probably deserves it, right?
I mean, with all the misinformation he puts out there, yeah, for sure.
Oh, totally. Well, good to have you on, Ducky. And my partner in crime, as we kind of teed up this conversation earlier this week, it is the ref. We teed up the roster discussion. We're not going to be teeing up as much what we're about to talk today, but we'll still dive into the rosters. How you doing? As what is that? Is Dark Ref trying to make his presence
I don't know
known?
what's going on here, guys. I don't know what's trying to happen or what's trying to come out. We'll have to see. Hopefully,
Does he
situation
does he want to participate more? Like,
I don't know. Don't ask me.
Much?
I didn't do anything. It just happens. It comes out when it wants to. Just be careful what you say about the Roughnecks. I'll tell you, you can already see what's happening.
Okay.
You can already see what's happening. All of you guys are talking so much trash about the Roughnecks. Look at the weather. Every more little bit of trash you talk, the weather gets a little bit more furious. It's going to be crazy out there. Rain or shine, though. Rain or shine, we're going to be out there for spring stock 4. It's going to be a party. The party's in the parking lot, the green lot, to be specific. Come out and meet us. Zachy boy and I, things are probably going to kick off around 3. Zach, we're probably going to be out there even a little bit earlier. And so, again, rain or shine, we're going to be out there. And then in the game, rain or shine, the Roughnecks are going to destroy the Battlehawks.
okay,
It's going to be good. It's going to be good.
I'm glad I know I'm going to walk away just knowing what's about to happen, and it won't be you enjoying anything. No dub. All sadness at the Buckies when we
see
travel
about
back.
that.
I don't
Zachy
care as long
boy.
as 1 million people watch.
That's all it matters.
Oh, Ducky, just imagine. Oh, it's at like 980,000 people.
Oh.
Rain delay.
Oh my
Game
God.
starts back up at like 10:30 on like FS2. Yeah.
That would be how it goes too. You're describing to a T. So do not wish that. You know what? Full disclosure, sporting events can go on Fox Business. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge from an industry guy. So, you don't want that fate either, though.
Maybe they'll put this one on Fox Weather.
No. Please
Put it
no.
on the green screen.
You don't want it on Fox Weather. You really don't.
Anyway, go on.
Finally, we teed it up during the UFL podcast with in-depth roster discussion just for you, Nick, as our buddy Nick Thorne here, the roster expertise man himself joins the show once again. And it's funny, like I said, that was the main thing we were teeing up for this week. We got a lot more to talk about before we probably dive into one of your more unique favorite pieces of discussion leading into the season.
Yeah, I think 2 head coaches dipping, 6 days out, probably more important. But maybe we're here. That's what's most important. We have a game here in 4 days, so I've been waiting for it. I've been antsy. I'm just ready to get this thing started.
Right. And let's kick this combo now off now that everyone's introduced. So, James, I'm just going to throw it right to you. Let's talk about today's, and we'll kind of backtrack a little bit to Reggie Barlow. But Ken Whisenhunt today, as you have reported, stepping away on leave is what it sounds like. What are the details right now around this? It kind of seems very out of left field. It's one thing to have a job taken. We understand that, late be it with Reggie Barlow's case. This one feels almost like no one saw it coming.
Yeah, this one definitely caught a lot of people off guard. I at least had a bit of a heads up because, funny enough, we're talking about Reggie Barlow, right? And all that news kind of breaking around Friday, Saturday, and talking to one of my contacts that day, and he's like, oh, it's just the tip of the iceberg. And I'm like, boy. Reggie Barlow's the tip of the iceberg? That spells like trouble. And little do you know, 2 days later, we get news on Ken Whisenhunt stepping away from Memphis. So this one's obviously a bit of a different situation where Whisenhunt is stepping away for personal reasons. I don't really want to get too into details on what that looks like. It's obviously personal. He's got stuff going on. Wishing him the best and hope that he's okay and him and his family. But besides that, I mean, Memphis in general, I mean, this is a scramble drill. Like, you've got Jim Turner now stepping in as the interim head coach. That's a guy who has 0 head coaching experience and 0 experience as a coordinator. He's only been an offensive line coach throughout his career. I know at one stint he was a bit of a run game coordinator, but that was not his main role. He was still primarily an offensive line coach. So we'll see how that works. But the Showboats right now are now heading into the season with a head coach who, again, has no head coaching experience. They have no offensive play callers on that team at all. TJ Vernieri, Luke Ferdinand, the running back coach, and then obviously you have Lee Morris in there as well. This is his first year. I mean, he was just a player last year, so none of these guys have really called plays at any level. I don't know what they're going to do. This is, I am really, really disappointed because we were all excited. We've been talking about this a lot. We were excited about Memphis. It feels like the Showboats are ready to turn things around. I think they could end up being the worst team in the league if this really wrecks them.
Hard stuff to talk about right there. Because I mean, again, I think one thing is, like, you look at, and honestly, I'd love to hear a little bit more. We'll probably want to hear a bit more if you have anything else on the Reggie Barlow hiring to Tennessee State. But I mean, with that, at least, you look and kind of dissect that situation, and at least, Coach Harris, his background, he's been around the block a little bit in terms of coordinator roles. He's been kind of at the side of Reggie for some years now. Feels a lot more stable, I think, if you're a DC fan compared to, say, what Memphis has, where you're kind of going by the seat of your pants at that moment.
Yeah, I mean, for Reggie's situation, it definitely feels like it was kind of in the works for a little while longer, where he obviously kind of knew and has had a goal to get out, where this situation just really caught Memphis off guard. I mean, just speaking to some of the contacts I have there and throughout the league, like, this one was a complete blindside. Reggie Barlow, at least there was a bit of a hunch that he could go somewhere, sooner than later. This one, I don't, like, it's hard to even describe what's going on in the Showboats organization right now, because I think everyone is kind of in a state of just like, what the hell just happened? Like,
Well, and I'll speak for Ducky because I know he's thinking it, and I know we're all thinking it.
I'm wearing a Cleveland hoodie because it feels like Cleveland's office right now. Like, they've got no idea what's going on there.
I don't understand why you wouldn't. You were talking about guys that have play calling experience. There's a guy.
There's only one guy on the entire coaching staff there that has done professional play calling, and that's Jaron. And the entire roster is nearly brand new. Every single one of them, almost. I don't understand why they're doing that.
Well, here's the thing.
Go ahead, Ref.
Well, here's the thing. Here's where I'm still not in camp doom and gloom. Because Boogie was on here a couple weeks ago, and what did he talk? He talked about that chip being a boulder. He's got a boulder shoulder, right? To me, this could be Jaron's boulder shoulder too, and be like, yeah, you didn't give me the shot. Well, let me show you our defense. Let me show you the meanest, toughest, no points allowed, having ass defense in the league. Whatever happens on offense happens on offense. If it's good, hey, even better. But if it isn't,
yep.
Boulder shoulders titty.
Why score on offense when you can score on defense?
What do you just imagine if we have more points on defense than offense? Then maybe, right?
My biggest annoyance with this whole situation is that, with this entire offseason, I feel like a lot of us, we've not only have we been pushing for Jaron, but we've been pushing for younger coaches, right? We've seen how the NFL has really benefited from guys like Mike McDaniels and Sean McVay and Kevin O'Connell taking over teams and just changing the culture. And it's one of those things where spring football, it's supposed to be about innovation. It's supposed to be about opportunity. Why not? Look, I know you want to have big names in there as coaching to make sure that these organizations are, at least, have some credibility and things like that. But you have 8 teams. You can afford to give one of the 8 teams to a younger head coach. Someone who, it's not like you have to give it to somebody that has no experience. Someone like Jaron has tons of experience. Someone like A.J. Smith has a lot of experience. Even a guy like Colin Bauer, defensive coordinator for the Panthers. Jake, I know he's a guy that you're a big fan of. Like, why are we not giving one of these guys a chance to prove themselves? And in this situation, this is this is such an easy opportunity to give a young guy a shot. Like, it's a crazy situation where you really desperately need a backup. It's not even like the league would, let's say, hypothetically speaking, let's say Jaron went in there and things didn't work out and the Showboats played bad. It wouldn't be a bad look for the league because The head coach left 6 days before the first game. Like, it's not like they placed Jaren in before the season. I could see the league being a bit more wary about a situation like that. This was such a golden opportunity for them, and it's a big swing and a miss for the league, in my opinion.
One thing I want to mention, and like James, you could definitely like shoot this idea down, but this is something that it made me really think of when the DC situation kind of got some clarity, and this is what my thought is of like why the UFL might do this. And that is, we noticed DC, okay, they take their quarterback coach, not either one of their coordinators, and make him the head coach. And my initial thought with that was, okay, you have your offensive coordinator who's been in charge of the offense and defensive coordinator who's been in charge of this defense. Even, when Barlow was there, he was much more that kind of managerial, kind of Dan Campbell, John Harbaugh type, where he wasn't like the play caller on either side. So you keep both them in their position that they've done before, and it's like, okay, we know the defense and offense are gonna, they can control those rooms, and then you put someone else so that those guys don't have to like suddenly become a head coach 6 days before the week one. They can focus on game planning, they can focus on their side of the ball. And so when they did this again with Memphis, that was my only real, like, because obviously he doesn't have the experiences. Like, maybe they went, okay, this is the guy who we know has been around rooms. He has the most experience. This will be like the safe, okay, Jaren can focus on the defense. I imagine that there'll be someone else be promoted to offensive coordinator, and that'll be their job to figure that out. And that way you're not throwing a bunch of stuff on one person. Yeah, no, that's like this whole situation's ridiculous. But
your only option from the inside is TJ Verneri or Luke Ferdinand, who I love those guys. Mm-hmm. They're phenomenal. I'm so glad that they're in the scene, but they're both really young and they don't really have play calling experience. So it's like, I mean, Memphis is in a pickle. Not to mention, it's so late that it's not even like you have much of a chance to bring somebody in. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One, it's 6 days before the first game. So it's not like you can bring someone in that's going to bring in their own scheme and their own stuff, because you cannot install that quickly. That's disastrous. Two, the UFL is very, very stringent with contracts, and obviously spending money is a big deal. They're not just going to go out and give another coach a coaching contract right now when they have guys leaving and they still owe money and things like that. So honestly, right now, I think Memphis is going to be stuck short-handed, and they're going to have to deal with what they have. To your point, Nick, I do agree with that to an extent. I think it makes a little bit more sense in DC situation where you already had Greg and Fred kind of, being offense and defense. In this situation, you have Ken Whisenhunt, who is head coach and offensive coordinator. The entire system was Ken's, and now he's gone. And now you're kind of left in a debacle. And in my opinion, someone like Jaren, he's so ready to be a head coach, and it's something that he really, really wants. And he's like, I feel like he would be a very good ambassador for the league. In and of itself should be a reason why the league should give him an opportunity, especially in this situation. Someone like, no one is going to be tuning into these games to watch Jim Turner coach. I'm sorry. I like Jim. I think he's decent. But, like, if you're trying to grow the brand, like, now you have an opportunity to hand the reins to a young guy like Jaren that the whole city of Memphis can get behind. Like, anytime any one of us posts something about Jaren Horton, do you guys not see how it blows up? Like, there is a legitimate...
The fans want it.
Like, there's a legitimate fan base and a legitimate group of people in this league that want to see Jaren succeed. Not to mention the entire team loves him. All the coaching staff adores him. 100% these guys would fully back him. We'll see what happens. I hope Jim Turner does well. I just think the league had an opportunity here to try something new, which is something they should have been doing for a while already. And I guess we'll see what happens. But I'm a little disappointed.
And I just want to make it clear that, like, I fully agree with that. I'm just thinking of, like, what was the thought process behind it? I don't think there was a win here, right?
Nick, we know you didn't want Jaren in there. Just say that.
I don't think there was a thought process behind it, to be honest with you.
I mean, like, there was a decision made. Why was that? And it was a unique one. It was not the obvious one. Because, like, I think everyone, if you would have told us, hey, Ken Whisenhunt's not going to be there, who's the head coach? It was Horton. And I want to make it clear that, like, I think, I would have done that if I was in that position. That's the only reason I could, like, understand why, like, okay, this is the only thing that, like, hey, I've noticed this trend. This is the only reason, because I don't think Turner is an obviously better decision than Jaren. I think he would have done a good job. It's just like it's just so unusual that I'm like,
especially with his background, we're like,
here,
Turner's like been fired from jobs and stuff for just kind of weird situations and things like that. So it's not like I don't know. I'm a little skeptical, but I don't know if I'm saying his name right, but HVAC's at 85 at the comment. I don't know if we can pull back up, bring back Coach Flip. Obviously, that's not something you can do right now, but it's one of the things, I was thinking earlier today, I'm like, the league, if they didn't screw over Coach Flip the way that they did, Memphis would be going on right now without any hiccups heading into season 2. So, look, I mean, obviously, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, and I was really excited to see Ken Whisenhunt and the culture that he brought to Memphis, but if you go back to July, and if that never happens the way that it did with Flip, and you allow John DeFilippo a chance to come back with a new roster, I mean, they would completely have gutted that roster. He would have brought in new coaches. I don't know. It's just you don't always know the future, so it is what it is. But another swing and a miss.
I'm with. So here's the thing. I think that if we're talking on roster on paper, I immediately am with you. Jaron seems to be the quick one. Former assistant head coach as well as being a defensive coordinator. So you get the coordinator knocked in, which usually coordinator usually leads you to the head coaching jobs. It's kind of one of those next steps in. My only thing, and this is why I'm like, unless we have this info, that's why I'm kind of like wanting to play devil's advocate like Nick is doing here is, who has the say? So like my example, does Whisenhunt have say on who he can choose as his successor, or does he just leave and kind of walk on? Because I mean, if we're talking about returning Showboats coordinators, coaches, you name it, Turner technically is one of the only few that stays as a second-year coach in that organization for as much as it's worth a damn or not. The other thing with this is, and again, I don't know, I haven't talked to this man whatsoever, so I'm just kind of speculating here. Is this the situation you want to step in as your first head coaching tenure? Is 6 days before the season, you're kind of thrust into the role. Maybe you have to give up your defensive coordinating duties or not, or you have to try and balance all that. Like, that's my question. So again, if anyone has insight on that, please elaborate. But those are the things, if I'm thinking about it, like that's pretty damn hectic to be thrown into if you're going to be doing that for 6 days and be like, I applaud you, but if you're talking about your future and your talk of trying to get new opportunities and whatnot, we went through this in the NFL, UFL before, where like, you kind of make or break your image on some of these head coaching duties. Is the thing.
I feel like Jaron would have taken the leap of faith if he was offered the chance to be head coach. I truly don't believe it was even brought up to him because this actually happened. This is the second time it's happened to him. Whenever Kirby Wilson left in 2022, 2023, and then Jaron was a pretty obvious choice again to be a head coach in 2023, and they didn't let him have it. They obviously gave it to his dad, Ray, but it's weird that it's happened twice to him now. A head coach leaves and he's had the opportunity, but I feel like if he was given the opportunity, I don't think he would turn it down. Honestly, no matter the circumstance, I feel like he would want to overcome whatever obstacle they're throwing at him because he thinks he can do it.
I believe he would take it on too, from what I've understand and have listened and talked to this guy when we're on our own Discord. By the way, link in the description. I'm just saying, like, there's a hefty risk if you take it 6 days, and I don't know everything. That's why I'm bringing it up. But right. I'm not saying the man wouldn't. I'm just saying, is that the one you'd want to take? Because that's a pretty darn big leap to do it with less than a week. To be like, all right, now you got all this crap to do. So have fun with that,
I definitely see both sides. I don't know. I've just been such a big proponent of young coaches that it's like I've had enough of some of these guys that they've had their time, they've had their opportunities. Let's give some fresh blood a shot. But anyways.
Sooner rather than later, be nice. Definitely. Yeah. So let's see. Plenty on Whisenhunt. So any other, while we circle back, obviously Reggie Barlow was the one that kind of kicked this thing off. James, I got to ask, anything new on that since? I mean, obviously Tennessee State's already announced him. He's locked and loaded in. Things apparently, at least they seem like a little more streamlined, credit. We're a few days already past that, but still, it seems like things are kind of like thumbs up. We're good to go. Yeah, we get it. Moved on, but we do have most of our main staff. We got 2 really solid coordinators leading this thing, so kind of feels pretty a little more chipper around there.
Yeah, I think DC at least it's a really, really tough blow to lose Barlow, and I feel bad for some of the players who now have to, it's not an easy transition, But in DC's case, it's at least a little bit simpler because, like you said, you've got the same coordinators. The system's going to stay the same. You don't have to worry too. Like, the biggest thing that you're going to be missing is, like, Barlow's leadership, which is tough. It's not easy to replace, but I do have faith in Shannon Harris. I know the league is very high on him. Daryl and Russ put out a statement. They were excited to have him there. So I think he'll fit in. This is a much different situation in Memphis where it, one, caught everybody off guard, and two, now you're left without a play caller. Like, it's not even like it's a situation where, Barlow was a little bit more just kind of managing the whole team, while Fred managing offense, Greg managing defense. He was managing the entire offense, Whisenhunt. So it's just completely different. DC, I have a little bit more confidence to put it together sooner than Memphis after these changes.
Well, I'm curious because, Ducky, I've seen you arguing with people online because some people, well, what about, right? No, but in regards to Barlow, because I think, it's funny, right? People are looking at this like this is a negative for the league. And, yeah, the timing isn't great. But at the end of the day, this is kind of what these leagues are built around, whether they say it or not, right? This is an opportunity to continue your career and maybe put the spotlight on you in a way to open up other opportunities. And yeah, is it great that it's happening a week before? No, but you can't be mad at the guy for taking a job, right?
The job's not going to stay open for 3 more months. He had to take it. And I guarantee you there's not a single DC player who hates him for it either. I can almost guarantee that. Because why would you hate somebody for that?
We literally saw DC's general manager, Von Hutchins, shout you out, Ducky, and he with the tweet that you put out, and he's like, boom. Yep. It's so right. It's like, again, this is a different scenario because Reggie, look, again, timing's not ideal, but this is a good job. This is an opportunity. Clearly, Barlow wants to move up the college ranks. This is an opportunity for him to do that, right? I'm pretty sure Tennessee State's previous coach moved on to Bowling Green. So, like, this is an opportunity for Reggie to get to Tennessee State and try to move up the collegiate ladder. And, it's probably a more stable job, right? I mean, to be honest, the UFL, with the way things have looked, there's no guarantee that this thing's going to survive long term. 10 years from now, I don't know if the UFL is still going to be here. 10 years from now, Tennessee State will certainly be there. And so will a bunch of other colleges and college opportunities. So for Reggie, I feel like this was a bit more of a career move for him. And again, it's great that the UFL provided him the platform to do it, because if not, without the XFL and the UFL, he wouldn't be getting the shot.
Yep. Yeah. And it's not to say either that one day that it might be vice versa, where people will leave those D1 jobs to come to the UFL. It's just we're in year 2. We're in year 2. That's all I can say.
Right.
We have kind of a funny timeline here with this DC whole situation because, for those of you who are, Washington, D.C. fans, you get another reason to hate the Eagles because this all ties back to the Eagles because the Eagles, so Kellen Moore gets hired off and so they lose their offensive coordinator. I believe they promoted their quarterback coach, but either way, their quarterback coach was a vacancy. They hire Bowling Green's head coach to be their quarterback coach. So then that position comes available. And then Eddie George goes from Tennessee State to Bowling Green to fill that vacancy. And then you lose your head coach because of that. So just a weird, that's why this opened up so late, was because it was already a late opening for Bowling Green. Like it was like very late in the process that, they suddenly didn't have a head coach. They get one by, going down a level and grabbing an FCS guy. And then suddenly there's an opportunity and Barlow takes it. So just a weird kind of like butterfly effect there of, coaches getting hired here and here and here. And then suddenly it's, you lose your head coach 6 days before week 1.
Yeah. Yeah. You aren't kidding. And you aren't kidding about the Eddie George hiring being kind of how this all as well. Another part of this whole thing, they announced him on March 10th. So, that search was, to me, already pretty late into a cycle, for all things considered. So it's not ideal in that sense. Like, and again, it's kind of like, hey, you want this or not? We're going to move on. Like we have an offer sheet right here. You need to make that choice. And you're kind of put under the gun in that way. Do I feel like I can get another offer at an HC at this potential school and kind of go forward with the deal I have and how I feel I can make the program better or not? That's kind of how that thing works. It's like, hey, now or never. I can always move on. Hell, there was and I find this hilarious how it's double tied in with this. There was talks that Jeff Fisher was going to take that job that actually were not anywhere near true, but like I just find that funny because like, that job only opened up 14 days ago. So wasn't that much of a search.
Man, I got a joke that I want to make, but I'm not going to make it. And this just shows how nice of a person I am, guys. And I'm just going to leave it at that.
Okay.
All right.
You're going to DM it to me, though?
Yeah.
Dude, okay. I was expecting to hear something.
No, I'm just going to leave. I know you expected me to go back and tell you what I was thinking.
Is it kind of like whenever I told Renza that I wasn't going to go to the 3-0 thing, and then I went to the 3-0 thing?
No. I'm actually not going to say it. I really do want to say it, but it's not my place to say it. But it's a funny thing. I'll tell you all after. So this is why you all should tune in, because then there is something funny to be said. One day maybe you'll hear it.
You just won't ever hear it.
Yeah, the thing we'll hear but never hear.
So
I feel like I was looking for it, though.
Don't make me. No, Zach, you'll be angry at me if I say it, I feel, but what if? No, I won't say it.
We'll talk later about this. That's fine. I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm just going to leave it alone. Gentlemen, any other thoughts on either one of these coaching changes? Again, obviously, the Memphis one is more immediately present and in many people's minds, but
which is insane.
Yeah, which isn't. Yeah,
Reggie news didn't break until Saturday.
Yeah, again, kind of nuts how this whole weekend's played out, but weekend and now a bit of change, but yeah, quite the news to have for lead up week. Kind of gets people looking at the league, just not saying it's always going to be the right conversation of what we're looking at.
And again, it's like, it feels like there's been so much negative press around the league heading into season 2, and it's a shame between the union stuff, coaches leaving, some of the off-season struggles, and obviously the union stuff still isn't settled. And this coaching news shouldn't even necessarily be a bad look for the league. Like, I mean, again, like Ducky, we were just talking about Reggie Barlow, he's getting an opportunity, but a lot of people kind of don't understand that aspect of it. Like, they're seeing him leave a pro job for Tennessee State. And again, and it brings up another point too. It's like, how do you eventually get coaches to stick long term in the UFL? Because that will help with the credibility. And yeah, Nick, that's exactly right. It's going to be money, and it's going to take time to get that. We won't really see that until we have team owners in place, and that's going to be where things get interesting. Because then those owners will be able to most likely be able to give these guys bigger contracts, and then we'll see, okay, which teams can attract which coaches and which players, because of that's a whole other story. But yeah, I'm a little disappointed that most of the, and of course, mainstream media is all over the union stuff and all over this, because I mean it gets views, but it's a shame because there's a lot of really, really good storylines in the league right now, and they're not getting any coverage. And then we have ESPN and Fox, who give a little bit of coverage to the good stuff, and then has inaccurate information, like Jason Bean being the starting QB in Memphis.
That was killer. Jason Bean is still with the team, guys?
Can these people clearly could care less about writing UFL articles, and it really pisses me off.
I think I'm a little saddened by the power rankings via RJ, because RJ's been through the ringer with this for several years now, and I get these more college football, but it doesn't take too long to realize the man's not on a roster right now. So kind of was shocking to me.
Well, he's always yet again, he is wrong about a player on the Panthers roster.
Yeah,
running with EJ Perry, who's not been with the Panthers for a couple months now.
Again, it's not like this isn't available information. The final rosters got dropped on their website. You can go and double check these final rosters. It takes a few extra minutes to go and cycle through these.
Yeah, but that's on Fox's website, and RJ's he's not hired by Fox or anything.
No, not at all. No.
So he wouldn't have Fox's information.
No, he's not a Fox Sports employee.
No, he's got other plans, so that's okay. Anyway, one thing I do want to bring up before we do finally kick in, and we'll talk roster talk, and do kind of end the show more towards that, discussing these final rosters in depth. One thing I will say, and I recommend you guys go check this out, is USA Today, while in the weeds of this whole Memphis talk, they actually talked with Daryl Johnson about expansion and more of the details behind what they're looking for right now. I don't have everything immediately off details, just something I wanted to bring up. If you look it up, you should be able to find it at USA Today, like UFL expansion or whatnot. But, he did have a few key points about market searches and whatnot, something at least a little bit palate cleansing for your day, maybe, but definitely worth your read.
Yes and no. I don't know. Should I be controversial again, or should I just shut up?
I don't care. You be you.
Yeah. Whatever gets us clicks, dude. I don't care.
I don't give a shit. So you
I-
can go right ahead.
Controversial.
I'm so sick of stuff like this coming out, especially at times like this, because it's so clear that the league sees that obviously there hasn't been a lot of positive press about them, and then they're like, okay, what are we gonna do? Let's go get something out about expansion, right? We saw this like a few months ago when they released the UFL started their official expansion process. There's really no weight to any of this other than the fact that they're putting out something to be like, oh yeah, we're talking about expansion. Like, duh. Obviously you're talking about expansion. There's no like real merit or like meat in these pieces whenever they go out. It's more just like, hey guys, guess what? The league's thriving. We're going to expand. But like they're completely ignoring the fact that if things don't go well this season, there will be no expansion because there will be no season 3. So I feel like they should be a little bit more focused on managing some of the current situations at hand rather than trying to go, all right, expansion, yippee, let's go. There's going to be zero expansion in 2026 with the way things are looking right now. And if there is, the league's cooked.
Oh, James is spending way too much time on Reddit.
Doomer mindset.
Dude, I go on the UFL
funny,
Reddit all the
like-
time,
Go
and they're
ahead,
just doom and gloom over there. It's just all bad. I love reading it. It's so funny. The mods are cool, but like the people that are in the chat, they're just doomers. They just doom.
Yeah, I have
Silly games.
everybody replying to my comments about how TSU is not, they're just FCS. It's D1, but not really D1. They suck and all. It's like,
Yeah.
like you're making all these excuses as to why Barlow leaving is a bad thing. It's just like, no.
If he's getting paid more, it's a good thing. That's my argument.
And he clearly has the path. Eddie George just showed it. Go from FCS to even Tennessee State gets you a MAC school job offer. How is that a bad thing? How is Tennessee State not a valid stepping stone?
I'd say they didn't have too bad of a season either last year. That's the thing. So, it's more issue. I say it's more about like, can he continue that program with it being Eddie in and now gone all of a sudden in a very quick time frame. So
can I just share this picture? Because I thought
that's a power cleanser.
I saw this on the Discord the other day.
You got a haircut?
That one's got to get clipped.
Make that your profile picture.
Look like he just came back from ROTC training.
I think that picture is even more flattering than the one that USA Today used of me getting dunked in Gatorade.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
man.
a sentence there too, by the way.
I know. When I saw that, I can't remember where I saw somebody posted it. It was on Facebook. I was like, oh, I'm so glad that USA Today used the picture of James getting dunked on. Can I find that?
Pretty sure it's pinned.
No, it's. I believe if it's not, it has to be.
It's definitely pinned.
No, it's pinned.
In our chat, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Hold on. Well, you guys talk amongst yourselves.
Which, I mean, hey, I guess if anyone isn't aware of that story, because, yeah, technically we weren't doing this show then. I forget that we only started this when the UFL came around. But season 2 of the USFL championship game, as Skip Holtz is running out to the field after they win the game, I'm, like, right there getting photos of it, and freaking Jalen Morton and somebody else dumped Gatorade on Skip right as I was, like, right behind Skip, and they didn't see me. So I just got absolutely doused. My camera gear got killed, and not to mention I was recording with my phone.
What?
At this very moment.
Oh, I hit.
Dude, no.
Well, we're gonna be about. It's about to be a two-parter, I guess.
Oh my.
All right, part 2. Let's see.
Are we on part?
I don't
Are we
know.
on the same stream?
I don't know. We're about to find out. God dang
we
it.
are.
Are we?
Looks like we are.